Life is a journey, not a destination. Welcome to Broken to Be Blessed Network, where strong, bold, powerful men will share their journey of inspiration and motivation. Life is meant to be lived, but it depends on one's own experiences that will shape their own path. For this reason, they will leave with you their own strategies used to overcome life's challenges. I'm your host, Samantha McNeil.
You can, and you are halfway there. Theodore Roosevelt. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Broken to Be Blessed Network. Thank you for tuning in as I continue to provide you with inspiration, testimonies, and motivation. Today, I have with me yet another awesome young man that is going to share his journey with you. And I believe that the quote that I read for you earlier somewhat tells us how much I believe that he believed that he could, and he was already halfway there. And
Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest, Odean Thompson, a graduate of the University of the West Indies with a degree in operations management and a minor in management studies. Odean is a member of the Holiness Born Again Church of Jesus Christ in Montego Bay, Jamaica. He was baptized at the age of 6 and have been serving in various departments, including the men's and the youth department over the years. Odean is currently the second vice president for the youth department. Odean believes that his purpose is to serve this generation by touching lives and expanding God's kingdom. He aspired to be a manager, a business lecturer, and a motivational speaker while remaining a genuine servant of Jesus Christ. Odean believes, or his spoken words are, in all things be prayerful because God is faithful. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to Broken to Be Blessed Network, Mr. Odean Thompson.
hello, Adine. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and how are you?
I'm doing well. So happy to have you joining me on Broken to Be Blessed Network.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Awesome. So we before we get into your journey, Adi, we just want to get a little to know about you a little bit more and just to get a little comfortable. How was
Definitely.
your day today?
My day was great. It was busy, but it was great. Thank God.
Awesome, awesome. So what do you do for fun, Adi? We know we're in a pandemic and we can't go out as much as we normally do, but on a regular day, what do you do to stay alive and to have fun?
Well, on a regular basis, I'll try to keep in touch with persons based on the nature of my current job. I would have to interact with candidates, motivate them to do their best. So that is a great thing for me to keep me going. Also, I'll take time to enjoy watching some YouTube videos, gospel videos, the latest music out just to keep up to date. Sometimes what I do is when I feel like I want to have a little church, I'd find one of those church videos, some worship songs. I just get active. At times I just read a quote or a scripture just to meditate on throughout the day, checking on my friends, stuff like that just to keep going.
Okay, awesome, and that sounds good. So
Yes.
what's your favorite food? What do you like to eat?
All right, so anything that's barbecue is a go. So I'll put it out there. The key to my heart in terms of food is barbecue. Barbecue chicken, anything barbecue is great. So once you have that, that's a go for me. So that's my favorite food. Anything else, I'll eat anything else, but barbecue is definitely the way to go.
Okay, interesting. So Adine is a barbecue kind of guy, barbecue man.
Yes, yes, yes.
Very interesting. Awesome, awesome. So we have gotten to know Odin a little bit more and know that his favorite is barbecue. He loves to barbecue. Oh my God, everything
Yes,
barbecue. In your bio, Odin, I realized that you are from Montego Bay, Jamaica, because you mentioned that your church is in Montego Bay.
yes.
You were born and raised in Montego Bay?
Yes, I was born and raised in Montego Bay. Yes.
Okay, so help us to understand your early childhood life experience, which school you would have attended, and all of those phases.
All right. So I started out at a school in Mount Salem. It was close to where we were living at the time when I was a child. But what happened, that school closed down. So then I had to move to the John Joyce Watson ECI now. It was John Joyce Watson Basic School back then, but it's now ECI. So I went to John Joyce Watson, and then from John Joyce Watson, I went to DRB Grant in the same proximity in Montego Bay, Catherine Hall. And then after DRB Grant, I went to Catherine Hall Primary, where I did 6 years. And then in my time, now we have PEP. Everybody's pepped up for high school, but I had to the GSAT in my time. And that time my school of choice was Herbert Morrison. I think the second choice was Cornwall College. Third choice I think was William Knabe, Irwin High, and another school for placeholder for the sake of giving schools. But I really wanted to go to Herbert Morrison Technical High School. So primary school was really interesting phase because you get to play. One of my favorite sport in primary school was cricket. We would normally, as young men, would take off our shirts because if our shirt was wet, we couldn't go back inside the classroom. Teacher would tell us that you can't come to class until it dry. So we would take off our shirts and play cricket. And we'll use the little lunch money that we get to buy the ball. So every day somebody was responsible to purchase a ball, and it was fun. I can recall seasons in primary school. I don't know how many persons remember this. It's like there was a season where we just had yo-yo. There was a season where we just played with marbles. There was a season where we just had skipping. There was a season for football. There was just a season for cricket. Another time for basketball. So there were various seasons throughout primary school that I had encountered. At the time, I think I was a part of the boys' choir when it just started. I thought I could sing. Well, I can. So at the time, I decided that I'm going to explore that talent. So I became a part of the boys club. I did JCDC, did quadrille, maple, and all those cultural, because I was a part of the culture club. So all those exposures I got during primary school at the time. And then after being successful in GSAT, I don't remember the score that I got, but it was sufficient enough to take me to Herbert Morrison, where all roads began. So primary school was really a good phase for me. I was living in Bogue at the time when I was going to primary school, still that same location when I went to high school. But high school for me was where the turning point began. I started out in one of the low streams. It wouldn't say low, but I was placed in 7M at the time. That's where I stepped out in terms of leadership. At the time, I think I became the form captain for 7M. And when I became the form captain, I continued along that journey. But normally, I would surround myself with friends who were eager to learn and to go further than where we are. So I tried to have study partners, and at the time I think we did like 17 different subjects. So you were getting a little bit of science, maths, and everything like that. But going to high school was more of a new environment, because they always tell us that once you get to high school, it's not like primary school anymore. So you had to maneuver, studying and handling things by yourself. One other thing for me, though, I think that's the time I received the Holy Ghost that year, when I started high school, the summer, August, because I said, God, I need to ensure that I have your spirit to go throughout high school, because if you don't help me, I will do what I want to do. But I never wanted that. I wanted what God wanted as well. During that time growing up, I've had some challenges back at home. I think at the time my parents had two businesses, and one of them had to close down, and then it kind of merged into one business at the time. And persons would think that I had it all together, but I can say that during that phase, I recall it was a missionary in my church who usually give us clothes, and we would wear it to church every Sunday, the hand me down, as they would call it. But I delighted in wearing them. When I got them, I was excited. I was really excited. I got a new pants, and then with my brother. So because I was a smaller one, most of the things fit me. So I kind of got the bulk of most of the stuff when they came, and those neighbors and persons that we had who would take things from overseas. Like some of those little things, take soap for you and all of those things. I was grateful for it, because persons would understand how much it meant for us, and then we usually get like barrels and stuff from overseas. Those were some of the things. So even though my parents had a business and everything was going, there were still some challenges. But I can tell you that I went to church wearing the same shirt, but I tried to alternate them. So every other Sunday, you wear something different. But it didn't matter me. But I remember one point my mom said to me, Odean, I don't want you to be wearing the same shirt all the time, because I don't want anybody to, pick up on things like, seeing that you're wearing the same shirt every Sunday. It does, she probably didn't feel comfortable, but I was so confident, and I said to my mother, as young as I was, that I am going to church for Jesus Christ, and I am going because I want to serve the Lord. And I would go to Sunday school every Sunday, because I was eager to learn the word of God, and eager. I took part in Bible quiz competition over the years, so that strengthened that relationship with God for me. But once I went on in high school, every summer you would have to think about paying the auxiliary fee and the book list and all of that. It was really hard some of the time. So sometimes I had to ask persons from the previous grade that I knew, or my sister who would have had some of the books, especially the literature books. If you know somebody who read that book, you try to get it, because you're going to need it. And all of those things had helped me during those times, because it helped us to save back on some of the things. But what was important is getting to where I need to get to. I remember sometimes when I didn't have the literature book, I would ask my friend who read the book to come sit and tell me the story of the book, so that I could catch up, because literature wasn't one of my strong areas. So sometimes I had to copy the book page by page every day, just copy a leaf, copy a leaf, copy a leaf, until I had my book to read at home. There were other instances throughout high school. I can recall vividly one time, things went down, and my parents didn't have money to pay for the light bill at the time, and the entire community had light. So you were hoping that it was a JPS situation, so everybody don't realize that there was not any light at home and it was going on for days. But while that happened, I would come to church, I would charge my phone, charge my laptop, and get the work done. I would try to reach home early while the sun was up to get everything done, because once it hits certain time in the night, you can't be using the dark to really get the work done. So those were some of the challenges. I remember at one instance for summer, there was nothing in our cupboards, and I'm not ashamed to talk about it because I realized that these are the experience that built me today. Where we only, I tell you, let me tell you this: the mango tree that my neighbor planted, I thank the Lord the day she followed the voice of God to plant that mango tree, though. Because that summer, let me tell you, when the Lord knew that there wouldn't be much in the cupboard to eat, the mango tree beared, and it beared so much that we even had so much to give away. And even some of the mango was so much we had to make mango juice, but it was like mango for the entire couple of weeks. So we didn't, it was just mango every night, and we had the little lamp on because the electricity was out, but we were there, with the light on, eating the mango, enjoy. And let me tell you, it felt like I had a full meal, and I gave God thanks for those experiences, because though it was bad, and you come to church and a lot of people may not realize what was going on. As young as I was, I wanted to run away because I was like, God, why in my family all of these things had to be happening? But nevertheless, I held my composure by God's grace, not of myself, because I really wanted to run away one at a time, because I said, God, this is too much. But when I look and see that, I'm still getting through, and when I usually get my good grades, I usually place like in the top 10, top 5, always in, those kind of placement. When it came on to my journey in high school, I tried to ensure that I was with the friends who would push me to do better. I tried to group myself with those persons. And I would remember classmates coming to me and saying, Odean, if I had your average, I would be on a plane ticket overseas, because you had the average, you had all of that. So their parents would have given them such great reward. But my parents would come and say, son, we are proud of you and all of that. And it was a good feeling. I didn't get any rewards, so to speak, that would maybe say, as they would say, rewards, sweet labor. But, I did it for me. I didn't really honestly do it for my parents. I did it for me because I knew what I was experiencing at home as young, and I knew that education would be the only way I could get out. So that is why I channeled my energy and my focus in doing so well academically. Not because you have a lot of students who can come to a prominent high school. That I will tell persons this: it is not the high school that you go, it is what you do wherever you go. It's the same content, the same subject, the same CXC, but it's the mindset. It's the mindset. And as you used the quote earlier, so once you have it, the correct mindset, you're already halfway there. I didn't see the end of the road, but I was halfway there. And I said, Odin, you have to do this for you. I mean, teachers respected me so much that there are times teachers say, your mother don't even have to come to school. Just come pick up the report and go home. But I was driven from the inside. I didn't have anybody really there to push me. So I had to push myself to do better. So even though the challenges were there were days, I tell you, Samantha, where I had to walk home. And that's how I even strengthened the relationship with God. Because when I didn't have the money to go to school, I would get up early in the morning because I lived at Bogue. So Herbert Morrison was like a little walking distance. So I'd get up early, reach a school early. And classmates would say, how you come so early? I don't tell them anything. I just say I come to school early because most time those who came from Westmoreland and those parishes would reach school really early. So they would say, oh, Dean, you live right there. So you don't need to be coming so early. But they wouldn't understand that I had monetary challenges some of the time. So when school over, it was just a walk home. And that's where I'd walk and talk to God. And when I don't want to sit around my friends because I didn't have money for lunch, because I had to be saving up the money, I'd find a different spot and I would just pray. And I drink some water, buy a one patty and just bless it and go through. So I didn't have it like everybody else. So I usually try to stay by myself because I didn't want to too show up myself that much. And when it's just like a one shoes taking you through high school, you try to polish it, you try to keep it because you don't want it. When it pull out, you get a little crazy glue and you glue it up and you say, God, keep it until December, the school term finish because you don't want it to burst out. So that was really it for me. But throughout high school, I participated in ISCF. I thank God for Miss Treasure. She was our ISCF advisor. I was the vice president for 2 years. I think I was the president for about 3 years for that club. And that's what helped me throughout high school to maintain that mindset. Everybody at school would call me pastor. I don't know why, but everybody said pastor. When it came on to devotion and prayer, call Odean. When it was time to pray over the school intercom, call Odean. Even today, when I see some of our past teachers, Pastor, you all right? You understand? So I was known as a little one to always, because I wasn't afraid to stand out. I wasn't afraid to hide who I was because I was saying, I had Christian friends at school, but it's when I went to some church service, I said, but wait, I'm a Christian friend. You didn't know that they were Christians because they were more reserved. But I wasn't afraid to let the world know that, listen, I'm a child of God and this is what I stand for. And when I went into to 10th grade, I became student council, the deputy head boy for this sub prefect body. And, being in a class with gentlemen, I was in construction at the time, they respected you so much. They respected your presence. They wouldn't have certain conversations around me. They'd respect me enough. When they needed help, they could get help from me. And that's one of the things that pushed me to say, you know what? Live and be who you are. Don't be afraid to be who you are because trust me, peer pressure is real. And if you follow certain company, you are going to go astray. As I say, show me your friends and I tell you who you are. But it's always, as the songwriter would say, dare to be a Daniel, dare to stand alone. And I wasn't afraid to stand alone. And I think that made a difference for me. And while going through, and I went on to 11th grade, and I had some challenges with some subject. I think at the time, English, my God, English was a hard subject for me. I would get like 60s, 50s. And I remember when I reached 11th grade, one of my teachers, Mr. Dare, he saw me and I said, Sir, I sat this exam before and I failed. And he said to me the day, I see something in you and you can do it. Don't say you can't do it. And from that day, when he spoke those words, and sometimes I encourage parents, anybody. You see, when persons are young, it is very good the words that you speak over them because it can break them or it can make them. I didn't see my potential at the time because I was failing. And I failed before and I said, I'm not going to do it over because I failed. But he said to me, don't say you failed, you can do it. And I said, okay, I got a tree. And I said, boy, go stay with the tree. And he said, no, come. And he helped me along my journey. And when I did my CXCs, when it was time to pay for CXCs, that was another monetary problem again. I thank the government at the time for giving the subsidy for maths, English, I think IT and a science subject at the time. So that kind of took off some of the load and to get the money to pay for all the subjects because I got recommended for all of them. And thanks be to God, when I went into most of my exams, I got ones, I think 7 ones. I did TD from 10th grade, I got a grade one in that, and so forth. And I did over English, which I thought was really hard for me. And lo and behold, I got a grade one. And when I got that grade one for that specific subject, I was really, really motivated. And also for physics, I think I got a grade two at the time, and I didn't have a physics teacher. And I told myself the day I came to church, I sat down and said, Odean, you're not going to fail. And I got a book and I studied for myself because I said, whether I have a teacher or not, I'm not going to blame anybody. My name is down. my ID number is down. I have to go in that exam and do my best. And I came up with a tool to say I kind of teach myself. So from then I was teaching myself, trying to learn on my own. But nevertheless, high school was done, paid for the package and everything. But next it was sixth form because I decided, my brother and sister they transitioned to working, but I said no, I want to go higher. I want to make it to the top. Sixth form fee was around $40,000 for the year. I think that's when I got my first job at NYS. I signed up because I said my parents didn't have it. So I said, guess what? With all these qualifications, I'm going to get up and I'm going to work, seeing that I qualify myself. And I got a job. I went through NYS. And then when NYS 3 weeks was done, I got another job just to make up the money. And I paid. I felt good because I paid my tithes. and I had my money to pay for my tuition for the year. And as I said, I thank the government for giving us the subsidy for some of the subjects. So you didn't really have much to pay for. So those things were helpful. You understand? And during high school, I think at the time, I became the deputy head boy for lower school again. Yes, and to one of my teacher, Mr. Burke as well, wherever he is, if he even hear this broadcast, I just want to, highlight Mr. Burke. He was one of the teachers that taught me industrial technology and TD. He was very instrumental. I looked up to him as a role model, to see him teach and, always encouraging us to go better and saw the potential in us that we didn't see. So I really appreciate it. And that's why sometimes we need at least one positive person, whether in the school environment, whether in the church environment. You just need that positive person to see in you, because the truth is, if you tell me that I see potential in you, I can't see it for myself. I don't even know at that time what I had in me, but they could see what I couldn't see, and help to nurture that potential. So I thank him for that. And even when I was on the committee, he would push me into leadership. He said, it is in you to do it. Because one at a time I said, sir, I don't think I can lead. I don't think I can do this. And he pushed me to it. And to Miss Reed Williams again, another teacher who pushed me, helped me to speak and to put myself together and all of that. And and then when I think it was 2017 in my final year at sixth form, I remember throughout high school, you'd have the top performers. I've never gotten that award. And I said, God, I need a top performer award. And I think that year, my final year, I think my average was about 90 something. I said, what? 90 something for sixth form? And Cape is really, really challenging. So at the time to get a average like that was really, really mind blowing. And, I got the overall performer award. I was like, thank you, God. And I topped some of the units as well. And for the second year for sixth form, I had to work again. I went to get a job, another $40,000, but I think at that time I got a little more, so I could spend on myself a little bit and treat myself a little bit. So I got a little exposure to work, but I was able to send myself to school again. And I think in that year I applied to the St. James Municipal Corporation, and that's when I became the deputy junior mayor for Montego Bay. So I got a lot of exposures at the time, a lot of abilities, a lot of things came out that I didn't believe, was in me to do. I think it was in the said year 2017, I did the 4-H public speaking. I got to meet excellent people in those categories, and I won the parish level, and I went on to win the national competition as well that year. And I think it was three males, three of us who won the title that year. And that was history in the making. And I was like, God, all these opportunities and doors that the Lord was giving in spite of the struggle. Because behind the scenes, while those good things were persons at church in your community would see, you were there in the background struggling with the depression because of the things that were happening to you. I remember those seasons I was depressed and really out of it most of the time. And I think that even helped me to have some mood swings some of the time. I was like, I didn't know how to handle the depression because all that was happening at home. So I kind of drawn myself into the academics and the church, but I wasn't really dealing with all the brokenness in the family and all the challenges. You start to question God. God, why should we go through all these struggles, all these pains, and all of that? But you still go through, but your heart was heavy. You understand? But in spite of that, you tell yourself, say, I want to do this because I have to do it for me. As I said, I wasn't doing it for parents. I wasn't doing it for anybody to recognize me. I wasn't doing it to look good, but because I knew the challenges that I was facing. At times I would have to cry out to God and say, God, can you just stop this? Can you just take me? No, there were days I would tell the Lord, I said, God, don't wake me up tomorrow. Just take me. Just take me. And then when the next day I wake up, I vex with the Lord because I say, Lord, you never, I told you to take me. Why am I still here? You understand? Because it was unbearable. And I remember after sixth form, I couldn't even take the graduation photos because the money wasn't there to do it. The money wasn't there, so I don't even have, any picture to show that I got to sixth form. Only my tie that's hung up in my room to say, yes, I went to sixth form. But at the time, those were some of the challenges. And then university was the next step. And then, university is the big deal for everybody. And, a lot of people don't get to advance because of financial challenges. So at the time I applied to UTech and I got through for UTech, but I had to work and I started to, work up a little money and save and had to leave the company. And after I left the company, I went to Kingston and I was like, before I went to Kingston, I realized when I told my parents, I think for the year, UTech was about almost $400,000 for the year. And I was like, God, I don't have the money. And I remember I sat outside and I dropped myself on the ground and I cried out to God and said, God, how you make me apply to universities? Embarrass, you want to embarrass me. Mommy and daddy don't have it. You know I don't have it. You understand? And I get through. How am I going to make it? But I said, all right, I'm going to step out by faith. When I applied and I got through and everything, and I went through with everything, and to my friend Shimika at the time, her dad took us up, and I applied for numerous scholarships. I got all the letters, everything. I applied for the scholarship, and I didn't get any of the scholarships. So I was like, God, I don't get any scholarship. So how is this going to work? And when I went up, nevertheless, I started with the money that I had, and I think it was just about $50,000. I went to Paymaster, and I paid my $50,000, and I said, "All right, God, you're going to do the rest." I got through with a place to rent and all of that, and parents was helping me out a little bit. But to be honest, it was you come. I got a UCOM scholarship because I never had the money. I remember one day I needed some money and somebody just called me and said, man, check your account. I give you some money. When I checked the account and I saw the money, I was like, thank you, Lord, because I didn't have it. When I was going through university at the first stage at $3,000, I have to keep me for the week because I never had it. So you take water fountain was my best friend because I carry my bottle to full of water because I don't have the money to buy the big fancy Burger King, juicy patties and all of those things that was on campus. I had to just work with the little that I had. When I get money for shopping, I just have to shop with the little money and just make it work for me. When I get the rent money, just make it work for me. So I didn't really have, some persons have uncles and aunties and friends. So I didn't have that. I didn't have student loan, nothing like that. So I was just really walking by faith, into university. When I realized that I did well for the first semester, I realized things was getting hard. And I said, Lord, I need to know what your will is. So I didn't leave UTech because I wanted to leave UTech. I really prayed about it, and the Lord really directed me that this is not where you should be. It's time to shift. That's when I applied to Mona, got through to UE, and I was excited as well. And to my UCAM friends, Lizette was one of the persons who was instrumental during my time there. She was there to encourage me when I was at that time. because of some of the financial challenges again, the depression just was on me. It's just there to worry. I don't know. It was just there to worry because you just don't know what next. And you can't tell persons that currently there's just $1,000 in my bank account and I don't know what's going to
So
happen.
how long was the transition from UTech to UE? In
Just
what
a
year?
semester. I did a semester at UTech. So when I
Okay.
found out, I said, all right, let me just apply to UE at the same time. Got through for UE. So with everything that was happening, and that time when the Lord said I needed to shift and transition, it became one of the most difficult time of my life because that time my parents' business closed down. That was just it. So no more rent coming in, no more nothing. You understand? And it's only sometime when I came down from Kingston, persons would bless you with a 2,000 and a 3,000. I used to thank them for it because they would understand that when they gave me the 2,000, 3,000, me wrap it up in paper, sometime put it in my bag and say, this is emergency. Sometimes it's those 2,000, 1,000. So God bless those persons. I can't remember all of them, so I don't want to call a name. Right? And thank them for those little 1,000 because when I had it sometime, and I tell you, when I got back to Kingston, it's that $2,000 keep me for another 2 to 3 weeks. And I had to, only God, He knows how 3,000 can stretch to a 3 week period. Because sometimes for some people that done in all 2 days. But I give God thanks that at the time I had to learn money management. So I had to learn to manage the money, manage myself, and take care of myself. And as a young person, to be honest, going to university, you see all the influence around it. I didn't really want to stay in the whole church thing. I was like, it's time for me to launch out in the deep. Mighty God. It was time to launch out. So, you hear the parties on campus and you hear about campus life and so I said, yeah man, but you come did kind of hold me still. But I was like giving myself a semester because God knew my heart. I said, God, the first semester here, I go to church, CMA, so make everybody think, say, yes, I'm good. But in my mind, I had to say, yo, it's time, but in a year time, this son to go out and experience and build yourself and live your life because everybody is living life. But God wouldn't have it to be so. Thank God for that. But while all those influence was around me and the challenges and the difficulties, I remember at one time a pressure got to my head. As I tell you, I was still in the season of depression. I was cast down because all was happening. Thank God for the persons who would call me and say, Odean, the Lord said to call you because this is happening to you. So I felt like I was losing my mind some of the time. Most time when I had exams, I was unprepared. So most of my exams, I wasn't prepared for them. Ask me how I passed them, I don't know. Because all I was worrying about was the money, the bills, the rent, and then personal issues again. All of that weighed down on me. I don't really call home to find out everything that was going on because the truth is, to be honest, I just wanted to escape what was happening at home.
Yeah,
You
yes,
understand?
yes, yes.
So that is one of the reasons I applied to UTech alone because I said, once I UTech, I have to go Kingston. So that was my escape route. But the greater fear upon me was like, Lord, please don't take away my intelligence and my education because that was my only way to escape. So I thought, to be honest, running away from my problems would have solved it. But when I got there, I realized it only got worse because the truth is I wasn't dealing with the brokenness, not having that true family relationship as you want it. You don't have no relative to call on, nobody really in your circle. So it was while I'm being broken, messed up in your mind, you're trying to hold your own self together because I wasn't the person to readily open up. I don't know if it's a male thing. I
Could
don't
be.
know. But we don't really communicate. And because, you thought that, as a man, you go and hold it, go and tough
Yeah,
it out,
yeah.
a Jamaican context, tough it out, just go and hold it. So some of the time you just go and hold it. If everybody asks, if yes, man, it is well. But deep down in yourself, you know that what is going through your mind, the challenge that you're facing, some of the times, you don't have anything to eat, you're afraid to tell somebody, say, you know, sir, I really don't have nothing to eat, really. So that's why I thought Lizette some of the time when she would cook and invite me over. That's how I got my Sunday dinners. That's how I got my Sunday dinners when I was there. So I thank God for her when she used to cook and say, come, Odean, here is some food, because I just never have it. And you couldn't call back home because home don't have it. So
Don't
it's
have it.
like you're
You're
up
right.
there, you wonder what all that happened. So when I had to shift, I give up the place. I tell them, you take are not coming back. So when I got through for Mona, I called Mona and said, Mona, is the same program available in Montego Bay? They said yes. So I transferred to Montego Bay and I came down. I couldn't apply for student loan at the time, so student loan was not an option for me. So some persons had student loans, so thank God for those who got student loan. But personally for me, I didn't want to have a loan. So I said to my mother when I came down, she said, what you going to do? I said, Mommy, I have worked before and I've sent myself to school. So if I have to do that again, I'm going to do it. I said, I'm not going to live to tell my children that daddy never try because mommy and daddy never have it, or because the resources were not there, and because I don't have anybody to look to. So it was like only a me and a Jesus thing, me, myself, and I. So I decided, I'm going to get a job. I got a job. I started saving. And after I started saving for school, I started the following August. I got my job, I saved up my money and all of that. I started university, and then I transitioned to the second company for work. And after that, now I actually paid in installments. So installment plan was what saved me throughout my university experience. But most of the challenges for university really came with juggling work and school, because I had the job, had to meet the demands of the job, had university. So at one point, I got like low grades. I got like C's in the first half of the year and B's, nothing really in the A region. So I was struggling to maintain grades, struggling to maintain a job. I remember at one point where it's only a doctor's note could have saved me from losing my job, because it was a job that was paying for school when I never have the money to go to work. As I said, I would have to walk to work. Thank God for the company that I was in. They had juice and coffee. So it was juice and coffee most of the days, because I didn't have anything to eat. Sometimes my coworker share food with me and all of that to keep the job. You have to work on Sundays just to keep going. And then 3 years after that, you look at it into the pandemic, because I finished up basically in the pandemic. But God was faithful in providing for me and all of that. So though it was really challenging, because meeting school, failing courses, knowing you have to do it over. It was really, all your other friends excelling over you, and some of them had scholarships, and I was happy for them. But I had my story. But I remember I shared this. I walked in a doctor's office one day, and that's the sick note that I got. And I said to her that, I need this note, because the reason why I come is not because I'm sick. I need the note to save my job. And she said, listen to me, young man. The fact that you started means that you're going to win. This is your journey, and this is what God wants for you. And let me tell you, when I took that motivation out of that office that day, I decided I'm going to push. When the university write to me and say, Odean, they have to put you on academic warning because, as I mentioned, the grades weren't up. I said, God, they go put me on leave. There was times I missed 2 exams because I never have money. I think one of the time it was 98,000 that I needed to in order to sit the exam. God was so good. The next day I got $100,000 in 24 hours. God, He knows how He did it. But I got it, and God provided the money along the way. There were times I had to look up to the heaven and say, Satan, I'm not going to curse God, because God is faithful. And then after that, I spoke over my life and I said, oh, you're going to end well. And prayer was what was keeping me. And when I went through all of that, my grades went up. Today I graduated with honors. I finished up everything, and though there were even this last semester, I had an encounter where it took me 3 months to get back one of my grades that they said I failed, and I got an A plus. And when the last semester came up, I said, God, I can't manage no more, and I was on the last lap, and I had to push and say, "Oh, endure to the end." And today I'm finished. I don't owe student loan. I don't owe anybody. And I can look back and say, all those brokenness, all those emptiness, all those struggles, and there are more in-depth stuff, but another time we'll share, maybe a part two, we don't know yet. But all those struggles build me today that I know the value of the degree that I have. And it's not because I'm intelligent, it's because of God's grace and mercy that carried me through. I know the value of that paper. So I don't have it to boast to say, oh, I am degreed. No, I know what I went through to get that paper, the jobs that I had to do in order to pay the tuition. I know the struggle. So today, when I can put on this orange tie, I remember the days it was just one shirt. I remember the days not going without food just to make it through. And a lot of people didn't see that because I put myself together and I went to church. I did what I had to do. I didn't wear the struggle all the time. There were times when it showed, but I didn't wear it all the time, though I was broken and going through. But with time, as I said, time heals. And trust me, when I see everything materialize, how God was faithful to me. And that is why I said in the introduction, be prayerful because God is always faithful. And today I give God thanks for the challenges. And it would be weird to say challenges, I accept them, they are my friends, because nobody readily accepts challenges and difficulties. Because while I was going through this, what I'm saying now wasn't what I was thinking, wasn't what I was feeling, because I was frustrated, I was upset. I said, this is it, this is enough, God. I don't think this is my portion. I don't think this is what I signed up for. This is not for me. So I don't know why you're doing this to me. And if you knew you were going to do this to me, might as well you hadn't done it. So Lord, don't waste your time. But nevertheless, all of that taught me how to pray, how to overcome things, how to grow. And today I can embrace the challenges, embrace the brokenness, and say, yes, this is why I can come on a platform today and share this story and say to another young man, another young person, it is not how you start, but how you end. So endure and end well. Your story is your story. And I'm telling you, your story is going to help somebody in your generation. So while you are going through, I will tell you this, you will never be greater than your processing, no matter how you are. Just as life going stages from an infant to a child to a teenager into adulthood, your process will take you in staging. And I'm looking forward to sharing greater testimonies and greater things to come. This is my journey. And thank you, Broken to Be Blessed Network, for giving me the opportunity to share with your viewers and to the wider world the opportunity of how I overcome my challenges. Even in my brokenness, I was blessed. Thank you.
Awesome, a man of a whole lot of words, I tell you. Very inspirational and powerful and impactful. And I'm sure he has covered so much and he has put the butter on the bread and let you know that even if you're in a situation like this, you can
Yes.
still overcome. Because
Amen.
and he let you know that when he was going through this phase, and that's something that is very profound. When he was going through the challenges, he wasn't speaking the way he was speaking now, like how he's speaking now. And that is very profound, and we want persons to know that, because a lot of times when we tell our story, sometimes persons might say, oh, it looks good, and oh, you
Right.
always have it together, and oh, no, once it wasn't like this, it's phases. it's different phases, and it's when you're over, when you have overcome, that's
Right.
when you are now going to see the beauty in all the
Right.
challenges, in all pain. Wow, what a beautiful story. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
One question though, while you were working, you were still living with your parents at home?
Yes, I was.
Awesome, awesome. So where are you now? Are you still living with them?
Yes, I'm still living with them. Thank you, Jesus. Soon move out.
Awesome. And one more thing, could you tell us how old you are?
I'm 24 years old.
God is good. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we have heard it today. A young man, 24-year-old, young, vibrant, and he has gone through so much. Yet today, he can sit here today and share with us how broken things can become a blessing if you let God do the mending. I tell you, thank you so much for watching. Remember to share and remember to also hit that subscribe button because we're building a great network over here. And before we leave, I just want to leave this thought with you. In yourself and all that you are, know that there is something inside you that is greater than any obstacle. I tell you, there's something that is greater inside you than any obstacle. Oh my God. Thank you so much again, Odean, for being here, for sharing with us. Thank you again, and have yourself a blessed evening. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.